Hello, lovely souls. Welcome. My name is Marley, and I am a clairvoyant, empath, Reiki master, and I specialize in past life readings, also known as water body readings. I will go into that, what water body reading is, in a moment. But first, today we're going to be tuning into the collective consciousness for the month of September. So what kinds of shifts might you be experiencing during this month of September? Now, when I talk about water bodies, that is the general focus of what I am tuning into whenever I do my readings. I tune into the water body. And so the water body is the emotional body, which is essentially eternal. And so as I'm tuning into this emotional water body of the collective, I'm going to be getting downloads about shifts that are happening within the collective that span far beyond just this lifetime. It can be rooted in our ancestry. It can be rooted in your past lives that you may have experienced. Normally what I pick up on is past lives, because there is such a deep intertwining connection between ancestry and past lives that if you're healing one, you're essentially healing the other. They're so interconnected. So that's just a little background about the water body reading. You'll get a better idea of what this water body is as I dive into the reading. So there will be an extended healing to assist you in integrating the energies that are coming up for this month of September. So stay tuned for that. There is a link in the description down below, and I will have a better idea of what is in this extended healing towards the end of this channeling. So let's begin. I just wanted to say this is not going to be a pick a card reading. This is just tuning into the collective and seeing what comes through and seeing what kinds of waves of collective karma is being shifted at this time. So let's see what card I have here. This is going to tell us the general overall energy of what is going on in the collective at this time. So we have, you're not for everyone, embrace your weirdness, face your true north. So it's really interesting that this card comes forward, and I actually want to first speak on some of the things that I've been picking up on about the month of September, just before I even dive into how this card ties into it all. So before I even made this video, I was getting channeling on the collective, and that there is really, 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 really deep karma being cleared as a collective at this time, and it goes really, really, really deep. I was being shown kind of like a ice pick picking at like black rock, which I feel is like kind of representing picking away at some of the really, really deepest, darkest wounds that are kind of, I'm hearing, untouchable. They're things that haven't been touched. It goes really deep, and I kept hearing the word unconscious as well. So it's like, and I was also seeing black water, and I kept hearing the words black waters. So what I feel this means is that there is really, really deep, deep unconscious stuff that's bubbling up to the surface within the collective, individually and as a collective. And so what this means is that it can feel really, really uncomfortable at this time. You may experience certain, you may experience ascension symptoms. You may also be experiencing, for this month of September, you may be experiencing some pretty major breakthroughs, is what I'm hearing. But it's almost like I'm seeing the first half of September being a lot of darkness purging up, and then the second half of September being major breakthroughs. So that's just kind of like the energy that I'm seeing. And so what you might start out experiencing is like some really heavy things coming up. You might feel old patterns resurfacing that you thought you were over. You may experience some discomfort with sitting with yourself, like this discomfort with being with yourself. This is really, really deep, and I'm going to talk even more about even deeper things that are coming through within the collective as well, regarding collective wounds around Atlantis in particular is being purged up, and it runs really deep around the theme of control and being in control. So I feel with this card where it says you are not for everyone, there is a huge theme around releasing control. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. I'm just seeing breaking free of restraints, and the black waters that I was seeing, I feel are really connected to this sense of control around our collective. It's really deeply connected to the matrix and the control aspects of, I guess you could say, just the control that humanity has essentially been under. So there is some channeling that I have picked up on a while back that I'm feeling is very relevant to this month at this time. And so, yeah, I'm going to just dive into that. Basically, there is a really deep connection between water, your water body, your emotional body, sexuality, and abundance, well-being, financial security. Everything is really, really, really interwoven and interconnected. And this is because the water body, your water body is essentially the center of the water body is the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is where the kundalini is coiled. And our kundalini, when our kundalini rises, we are anchored more deeply into alignment. And so there is a lot of collective suppression within our society around sexuality and being free to explore your sexuality and your emotional well-being as well, because the sacral center is also your center for emotions and empathy and sentience. And so the suppression of the emotional well-being of the collective and the suppression of sexuality and the manipulation of sexuality within our collective is really deeply connected to the humanity's power source, essentially, and being fully grounded and anchored in your power, and also being abundant and being having that infinite energy flowing through you effortlessly. It all really does begin with the sacral center. I mean, you could also say it starts with the root, but the sacral center is where the kundalini is coiled. And so through collective manipulation around sexuality and emotional well-being, there has been a really, really deep sense of separation within the collective consciousness. I hope that I am saying this all clearly. It's like putting words to something that feels so vast, but also just so, so deep. So how this relates to Atlantis is that's kind of where a lot of manipulation started and began. And think about the kundalini, the snakes. I'm actually being shown a visual of the two snakes that kind of like rise together up the kundalini, and they kind of do that, where they're snaking past each other all the way up the spine. So those two snakes, there was a separation that went down through the suppression of the divine feminine. That was kind of like the way that the beings who took control of Atlantis went about it, is that they saw the power source being the merging of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and so they essentially targeted the sacral center and targeted sexuality, emotional suppression, and that would essentially cut off all connection to our intuition and our connection to source. And so I hope that made sense. So this is like a really deep wound around sexuality, I feel, and also around freedom and around liberation and around being free to express yourself as you are in your authenticity. There is a theme around authenticity for this month of September. I mean, again, like really, 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 really deep collective purging happening, and really, really deep unconscious things, the unconscious coming to light. And I'm hearing the word brutal. Like, it might feel kind of brutal. It might feel kind of like, it might feel really uncomfortable. But if you think of it as like this really dense, dark rock that you've never looked at coming to the surface to be acknowledged within your energy field, the things that are the most buried deep within you that aren't even really yours from this life, it goes so much further than that. It's so much deeper than that. Those things are coming up, and it's not pretty, but it's also going to assist you with living more in your authenticity and being even more anchored in your light to allow these things to come up and to be purged out. And there might even be like old patterns of avoidance coming up. There's just like almost this old patterns are naturally going to repeat themselves. Old cycles are going to naturally repeat themselves. And that's just kind of what I feel is part of the that's part of this cycle. And the best way I feel to go about processing these shifts and this energy that's shifting and the energy that's purging out is to just come at it with a place of compassion and curiosity, and not get frustrated if it feels like you're taking steps backwards, because that might be something that might happen for you guys, is where you might feel like you're taking steps backwards when really this is something really, it's just really, really deep stuff is coming up to the surface. Yeah, I just get a feeling of like a lot of discomfort. But also I'm hearing the word clarity. So there's things being brought to light that need to be brought to light, and it's going to, if you're in a receptive place, you can have some really, really, really major breakthroughs for this month of September. Okay, so I'm going to pull some more cards for you guys, just see what comes through. Yeah, also just like deep wounds around fear of what other people think. And I'm hearing witch wounds, but I'm seeing this going all the way back to Atlantis again. So some of you guys might really resonate with having been a high priest or a high priestess in Atlantis, and having your words skewered, like I'm seeing there are priests that sort of took control and did not have pure intentions and were using manipulative tactics to sort of skewer the way the Atlantean collective viewed the high priests and the high priestesses. And I'm seeing a really deep throat chakra wound as well within the collective around having your words manipulated and having having your image, I guess you could say, being kind of ripped apart by people who had ill intentions. So there might be a deep wound within some of you guys around the throat chakra and speaking your truth and feeling misunderstood, because I feel like you may have experienced being misunderstood in a past life in Atlantis, when it was very catastrophic to be misunderstood, when it was really not. It was a much bigger thing than you to have your words be misunderstood, have your intentions be misunderstood, was very catastrophic to the collective, if that makes sense. Yeah, so definitely feeling drawn to Atlantis. There was also a lot of experimentations happening in Atlantis. A lot of what I'm hearing, cross breeding. Sorry, that's my dog scratching on the ground. So when I say cross breeding, what I mean is there were a lot of scientific experiments happening around trying to breed different creatures, I guess you could say, from like cross-breeding different species, but it was very manipulative. Again, a deep wound around sexuality. Yeah, so there's definitely like a really deep manipulative wound around sexuality rooted in Atlantis, around also that's around trafficking and things like that, but I'm almost getting even more of like cross-breeding of some kind, which is very not, I don't know, it just feels very, very dark. So yeah, really heavy stuff coming up within the collective. Okay, we're gonna just see what else is coming up within the collective to be cleared out within this month of September. Okay, we have Knight of Cups. What else? Yeah, I'm hearing clarity. What else is coming up for the month of September? So yeah, it's not all, well, it's not all heavy, and I say that, and Eight of Cups. So it's like, I'm just gonna pull a couple more cards actually before. So what else is coming up within the collective? Two of Wands, Knight of Wands. Yeah, this feels like this is like what the month will look like. Like, I'm just hearing the word liberation and introspection, kind of like deep programming, deep rooted wounds that could be way deeper than just this lifetime, that will essentially help you to liberate yourself. Like, I'm seeing this woman, she's walking towards the water, and it's interesting because we also have this man coming out of the water. At least that's what it seems like to me. And so it's just interesting because I feel like it's almost like, to me, that's water body cleanse right there. I've also kept getting this vision of like a giant wave within this month of September, like a really, really big wave. Like, there's just a deep cleanse happening. And then we have this card, which is very liberating. Coming out of heavy energies. So there just might be a theme around introspection and cleansing your emotional water body and cleansing the deeper rooted, heavier stuff within your individually, but also it could be very rooted within just the collective consciousness as well that you hold within, which can make it a lot more painful too when you have deep rooted wounds that are very connected to the collective. That's, you know, when the collective is purging all at once, it can feel even more intense, because especially if you're an empath, you can feel it coming up, not just for you, but like within the collective, like within everyone around you. So it just is very amplified, and you might start to notice these wounds within other people. I'm gonna pull two more cards just to see if there's anything else. Okay, 3 came out. So, 8 of Wands, 6 of Wands, 10 of Swords. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Again, it's kind of the same theme. Like, there is a death and a rebirth. And I'm actually seeing like almost like the vision of like a snake shedding a layer of skin, like shedding skin. That's kind of what I'm seeing this as like she's coming out of this volcano, but it's like she's shedding skin. Yeah. So, and I feel like that's gonna make it, there's just a lot to be, there's also a lot of ancestral wounds this might be very connected to your bloodline as well. Things within your bloodline that are needing to be purged out and cleansed. Like, this is just a really deep cleansing time. Really, really, really deep purging. I'm gonna pull a couple more cards here. So what else can your spirit guides tell us about this month of September? What shifts will the month of September be bringing you guys? Hey guys, so unfortunately my camera cut out while I was recording, so I'm just going to try to start from where it left off. So the first card that I pulled was Cosmic Womb. Seek connection with oneself, as you are a source of empowerment and life. In here lies your divine insight. So this card I felt was really perfect for what we were talking about because of the deep collective wounds around sexuality, around the sacral chakra with the cosmic womb, and there are even snakes on here, which is just so perfectly symbolic for everything that was coming up in this reading. And so what I am picking up on here is that there is going to be a lot of deep focus around bringing healing to the sacral center and the cosmic womb, the womb space. Think of it as reigniting your power center, and you may also be experiencing a lot of energy shifts around the spine and around the kundalini. So the kundalini rises from the sacral center up all the way to the crown. And what I'm seeing is many of you may actually be experiencing some kundalini awakenings during this time. But you also just may be experiencing a lot of healing around your connection with your emotional body, with your emotional well-being, and also your connection to sexuality and your empowerment and reclaiming your power. And I was actually getting this vision of you guys kind of embodying almost like a rebel energy. I was seeing someone like just being in this, like, I keep wanting to swear every time I describe this, like kind of like being in like this F it mentality, like rebellious, breaking the rules, just kind of like shattering all the illusions that they may have been under, shattering the container that they have been locked into, shattering the just old ways of being that really are no longer in resonance with them anymore. And it's just this like almost like breakthrough realizations that I see you guys have happening this month, where you can really embody your kind of like rebellious energy and it being very, very empowering. And the other card that I pulled was Patience. And it says, not all will awaken at the same rate. Be patient and hold space for those who need your guidance. So I felt that that card was kind of speaking on the fact that, first of all, this time there might be a lot of people who are feeling especially easily triggered at this time. There might be a lot of people who may be feeling particularly uncomfortable and irritable. And so just remember that as you go about, your month, and that there are really deep shifts happening and old patterns that are coming up for the collective in general. And even for someone who is very introspective, I'm seeing it being easy to be in a state of avoidance. And so I feel this message is like saying be patient with others who might be going through their own major shifts. At the same time, I was also getting this like anger energy that some of you might be experiencing, which is part of your empowerment and coming back into your power, is like allowing yourself to feel angry. And I'm seeing you guys almost like pulling that energy back into you, not in a way of like restricting the anger, but almost like recycling your energy so that you can be energized by your own energy and pulling it up, like pulling your energy up through your womb all the way up to your crown, up your spine to your crown. And that this is going to help you to like recycle your energy, and that instead of like inflicting this anger on other people, you can utilize that anger for your own benefit. You can utilize your own like ferocious energy to step more fully onto your purpose and be almost like use it as like your motivation, while at the same time, I think anger is something that you don't necessarily want to be like the foundation of the work that you're doing, but it's okay to utilize that anger to be like your driving force, because anger is kind of like what sparks the passion. It's what sparks the fire. And now I'm like being drawn to that. Yeah, so anyways, there's definitely like a lot of, again, the word liberation is such a key word here. So the other card I pulled is Beacon of Light. Create a container for your own energy so you remain in your own frequency. Stay in your strong sense of self. So yeah, I was feeling with this card, a lot of you guys here may be very empathic. And so that can mean that when there's huge like collective purges like this, you may be really particularly sensitive to the purge that is happening around you, not only within you, but also within the collective and within people around you. And so just be conscious of that. And I would say setting daily protection would be really beneficial for you guys, I feel, to help you to be really in your own energy, and also to daily cleanse your energy. Doing a regular cleansing of your energy is, I also feel, will be really helpful. And again, this is something that will be within the extended. We'll be focusing a lot on creating a sacred container, helping you to cycle your energy, helping you to create space for your kundalini to rise, while also being really in your own energy and protected. There's so much clearing here, there's so much purging up, so much deep rooted unconscious stuff coming up, that I feel is very rooted in Atlantis. So we're going to be focusing on clearing a lot of the Atlantean wounds around sexuality and around the suppression of the kunalini, of your inner power source. Okay, so the other card I have is equilibrium. Your experience is complete. Process it without judgment. Allow your mind to return to 0 point, back to balance. And with these hands spiraling around this, I was really getting a feel of someone's guides, someone's spirit guides being really present with them. I was seeing you guys calling on your ancestors and your spirit guides and your higher selves for support to assist you with clearing the energy, clearing your energy, and also to assist you with protecting you. The extended healing also always includes calling in your spirit guides for assistance with clearing your energy and kind of bringing them forth so that they're with you. So speaking on the extended healing, we're going to be focusing a lot on clearing the deep-rooted wounds around Atlantis. And this is a timeless, this is a timeless healing. These healings are timeless. So if you came across this video at a later time, this video was particularly for the month of September, but the extended healing is for any time, and we're going to be doing a really deep clearing within the collective around Atlantis, and it's going to be a really, really deep purge around Atlantis. I just want to speak a little bit more on Atlantis because that is the theme for this month, collectively purging Atlantean wounds. And and so with Atlantis, there was so much control that happened kind of on and off, but I would say the fall of Atlantis came because of the control of from beings who did not have the highest good of the collective in mind. And so there was a lot of strange experiments happening, a lot of weird scientists that had really impure intentions. There was it was really the beginning of just manipulating the light to be of malintentions, like false light, the beginning of false light, I feel. That's where a lot of really deep manipulation began. And that word manipulation feels so relevant when it comes to Atlantis because it runs so deep. It's like decoding the very foundation of everything that makes up our world now. And so just every little thing that held any sort of energetic footprint or energetic code was kind of like rewritten to be of false light. And so it's like almost like taking something of light and turning it into something that is of illusion to manipulate. And so this false light is something that is really also coming to the collective awareness at this time. And Atlantis is where the foundation of the darker control began. So I could go deeper into Atlantis, but I think I'm going to leave it at that, because I will be probably doing a Atlantean channeling, more specifically for Atlantean star seeds in the future, and so you can stay tuned for that. Before I close it off, I'm just going to pull a card here for guidance on this month of September for the collective. Guidance for the month of September. Okay. Dances on one foot, balancing act. So I'm going to read this guy out loud for you guys. Balancing act, resourcefulness, saying yes to life. When dances on one foot shows up, you are called to find a new balance. Just as a dancer moves gracefully into each pose, no matter how precariously balanced a step might seem, you must bring equanimity to the situation before you. No matter how thorny or difficult a relationship seems, if you are putting too much effort into managing your life, work, relationship, family, and digital media, you are missing the point. You have to be dancing while juggling your entire life, knowing that at any one time, half of it is going to be up in the air. It's not that you are doing too much and find it impossible to catch up. Rather, it's that you are confusing readiness with preparation. You will never, ever be fully prepared for all the challenges in life, but you can be ready to say yes to a new invitation the universe offers you. Live in a state of yes to spirit and no to everything not infused with life, romance, vitality, and the sacred. You will be surprised by how quickly your load lightens when you hold true to this lesson. You are challenged now to work with the resources available to you and not be seduced by the belief, if I only had more. Life has provided you with everything you need to accomplish your goals and fulfill your mission. When it feels like you are losing your balance, do not contract, holding your arms close to your chest, for you will fall. Instead, reach out and extend them fully, saying yes to Spirit's steadying hand. Yeah, okay, so what I'm picking up with this is that almost like I was seeing someone, having a lot of heavy stuff happening in their life, or just feeling particularly triggered by what is happening around them, and almost like choosing to embrace it as an opportunity to cleanse. And so, yeah, it's all about intention. It's all about how do you choose to harness these energies at this time, and do you choose to be annoyed and frustrated with whatever might be coming up for you, or do you choose to see this as an opportunity to cleanse yourself or to purge? And even just holding the intention that as you're feeling your healing, that is exactly what's happening. It's all about intention, because you can be feeling something and be still holding tight onto it because you don't believe that it's healing you. If you believe that your feelings are hurting you, then you're not allowing it to release. You're holding on to it. But if you believe that your feelings are impermanent and temporary, and you allow them to be so, then they will wash through you effortlessly, and you will be purging and shifting. And even if it might not feel like it, because there's so much to be cleared out, it's all about surrender and trust and having faith that is what's happening, and eventually you will come out of it, because you will, and it is temporary. So thank you so much for being here. I am sending you so much love. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and I hope that you are having a beautiful day.